The 48 Laws of Power is a widely recognized book authored by Robert Greene. It was first published in 1998 and quickly gained attention for its detailed exploration of power dynamics. The book draws on historical figures and events to illustrate each of its 48 laws, offering insights into how power can be acquired, maintained, and defended. Robert Greene is an American author known for his books on strategy, power, and seduction. His writing often combines historical anecdotes with psychological insights. Before 48 Laws of Power, Greene worked in several jobs, including as a writer in Hollywood and as an editor for several magazines. His interest in power dynamics and strategy was fueled by his experiences in these industries. 48 Laws of Power has been praised for its compelling insights and strategic depth, though it has also been criticized for promoting a cynical and manipulative view of human relations. Despite the mixed reception, the book has been a bestseller and remains influential in various fields, including business, politics, and entertainment. It's often referred to by prominent figures in these fields and has a significant cultural footprint. About the author, Robert Greene is the author of the best-selling book, The 48 Laws of Power. Born on May 14, 1959, in Los Angeles, California, Greene is an American author known for his writings on strategy, power, and human behavior. He has authored several influential books that have gained popularity for their practical advice and insights into power dynamics and social strategy. Greene's notable works include The 48 Laws of Power, which offers essential laws on how to acquire and maintain power, drawing on historical examples and anecdotes from famous figures to illustrate each law. The Art of Seduction explores the techniques of seduction and the psychology behind it, using historical figures and events to explain various strategies. The 33 Strategies of War delves into military strategies and tactics that can be applied to various aspects of life, including business and personal relationships. The 50th Law, co-authored with 50 Cent, focuses on fearlessness and how to overcome fear to achieve success, using the life of rapper 50 Cent as a primary example. Mastery examines the path to mastery, exploring how individuals can achieve high levels of expertise and success in their chosen fields. The Laws of Human Nature delves into understanding human behavior, offering insights into why people behave the way they do and how to effectively navigate social dynamics. Greene's educational background includes studying classical studies at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Before becoming a full-time author, he held various jobs, including working as a writer and editor in New York City and Hollywood. His diverse career experiences contributed to the rich historical and contemporary examples found in his books. Greene's works are known for their meticulous research, combining historical anecdotes with modern psychology to provide practical advice. The 48 Laws of Power, in particular, has been widely influential and controversial, with admirers in fields ranging from business to entertainment. Greene's books have been praised for their depth and insight, though some critics have viewed them as promoting manipulation and unethical behavior. Despite this, his work remains popular, particularly among readers interested in self-improvement, strategy, and understanding power dynamics. Overall, Robert Greene has established himself as a prominent author and thinker, offering unique perspectives on power, strategy, and human nature. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Never Outshine the Master. This chapter emphasizes the importance of making those above you in a hierarchy feel superior. The core message is that you should never outshine or outperform your superiors in a way that makes them feel insecure or threatened. The chapter advises against displaying your talents too vividly if it risks overshadowing your boss or leader. It suggests that by making those above you feel more knowledgeable and capable, you can gain their favor and avoid inciting jealousy or fear. The underlying principle is to manage relationships with superiors tactfully, ensuring that they always feel esteemed and confident in their position above you. This law is illustrated with historical anecdotes and examples to demonstrate how outshining a master can lead to negative consequences, while carefully making superiors look good can enhance one's own position and power. The chapter is a blend of strategic advice and cautionary tales, setting the tone for the rest of the book's exploration of power dynamics. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Never Put Too Much Trust in Friends, Learn How to Use Enemies. This chapter argues that friendships in the context of power and politics can be risky, as friends are prone to envy and emotional complexities. Instead, Greene suggests that employing former enemies can be more advantageous. The rationale behind this law is that friends are more likely to be complacent and may feel entitled to certain privileges in their relationship with you. This sense of entitlement can lead to envy and betrayal. In contrast, former enemies, once won over, may prove more loyal and diligent, as they have something to prove and no past history of camaraderie to make them complacent. The chapter provides historical examples to illustrate the dangers of relying too heavily on friends and the benefits of converting enemies into allies. It advises readers to be cautious in their friendships, especially when it comes to matters of power and ambition, and to see the potential value in those who have been adversaries. The chapter underlines the importance of strategic thinking over emotional decisions in the pursuit of power. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Conceal Your Intentions. This chapter centers on the strategy of keeping your true plans and intentions hidden from others, advocating for a level of mystery and unpredictability in your actions. Greene suggests that by concealing your intentions, you prevent others from understanding your true motives and goals, making it difficult for them to disrupt or counteract your plans. He advises creating a smokescreen around your intentions, using false or misleading signals to keep potential rivals and adversaries off balance. The chapter includes historical anecdotes and stories that illustrate the effectiveness of this strategy. These examples show how revealing too much can make one vulnerable to attacks or manipulation, while keeping intentions hidden can provide a strategic advantage in various contexts, from personal relationships to political maneuvering. The essence of this law is about controlling information and perception, making sure that you maintain the upper hand by not allowing others to see your true objectives until it's too late for them to interfere. Chapter 4 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Always Say Less Than Necessary. In this chapter, Greene advocates for the power of being concise and keeping one's words to a minimum. The main idea is that the more you say, the more common you appear, and the more likely you are to say something foolish or revealing. The law suggests that by speaking less, you create an air of mystery and leave others guessing about your intentions and capabilities. This can make you appear more powerful and in control. When you do speak, doing so ambiguously allows others to interpret your words in various ways, further enhancing your mystique and control over the situation. Historical examples are used to illustrate how individuals who spoke less often wielded more power, and how those who talked too much frequently undermined their own power and influence. The chapter emphasizes the importance of being deliberate with speech, using silence as a tool to control information, and projecting an image of wisdom and thoughtfulness. Chapter 5. Chapter 5 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled So Much Depends on Reputation. Guard it with your life. This chapter emphasizes the critical importance of one's reputation in the acquisition and maintenance of power. Greene argues that reputation is a cornerstone of power. It can intimidate and win battles before they even start. The law advises protecting your reputation at all costs and building it strategically. A strong and well-managed reputation can create a formidable presence and afford you a significant degree of influence and control in various social and professional contexts. Conversely, a damaged reputation can severely limit your ability to exert power and influence. Greene uses historical anecdotes to illustrate how reputation has been used effectively by powerful figures in the past. These stories show how a carefully crafted and defended reputation can serve as a valuable asset in both defending against attacks and in advancing one's own interests. The chapter encourages readers to understand the power of perception and the role it plays in shaping how others view and interact with you, emphasizing the need to be constantly aware of and actively manage how you are perceived by others. Chapter 6. Chapter 6 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Create an Air of Mystery, focuses on the strategic use of mystery and ambiguity to enhance one's power and influence. Robert Greene argues that being unpredictable and inscrutable makes you intriguing and captivating, drawing more attention and interest from those around you. The law suggests that by not revealing everything about yourself or your intentions, you keep others off balance and in a state of anticipation, not knowing what to expect from you. This uncertainty can be leveraged to keep others engaged and focused on you, allowing you to control situations and relationships more effectively. Greene illustrates this law with historical examples demonstrating how figures of power maintained an aura of mystery to their advantage. These stories show how a mysterious demeanor can lead to a perception of depth and complexity, making you appear more powerful and commanding respect and attention. The key message is that in a world where most people are open and predictable, being enigmatic can set you apart, making you more interesting and desirable. This law advocates for cultivating an image that keeps others guessing, enhancing your presence and influence in any social or professional circle. Chapter 7. Chapter 7 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Get Others to Do the Work for You, but Always Take the Credit. This chapter delves into the strategy of using the talents and efforts of others to further your own goals, while ensuring that you receive the recognition and benefits. The core idea here is that you can save time and energy by leveraging the skills and labor of others, positioning yourself as the orchestrator or mastermind behind the success. Greene suggests that by cleverly appropriating the work of others, you can enhance your own reputation and power without being burdened by the details of execution. The chapter provides historical anecdotes to illustrate how successful leaders and figures of power have employed this strategy. These examples show how taking credit for others' work can significantly boost your status and perceived competence, often leading to more power and influence. Greene warns, however, of the potential pitfalls of this approach, such as resentment from those whose work you've co-opted. He advises careful management of relationships and perceptions to ensure that this strategy is effective. The overarching message is to be the visible face of success, even if the efforts behind it are not solely your own. Chapter 8. Chapter 8 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Make Other People Come to You. Use bait if necessary. In this chapter, Robert Greene discusses the strategy of gaining power and control by forcing others to act on your terms. The law advises creating situations where others must come to you, thereby placing you in a position of power. The chapter suggests using various forms of bait to lure others into your plans or into situations where you have the advantage. By compelling others to take action and come to you, you reverse the power dynamic, making them play by your rules and on your territory. Greene illustrates this principle with historical examples, showing how figures of power have drawn others into their sphere of influence, thereby gaining the upper hand. These stories highlight the effectiveness of this strategy in negotiations, conflicts, and power struggles. The key takeaway is that by controlling the setting and circumstances of interactions, you can control the outcome more effectively. This law is about maneuvering others into positions of weakness while maintaining your position of strength. Chapter 9. Chapter 9 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Win Through Your Actions, Never Through Argument. This chapter advocates the principle of demonstrating your point through your actions rather than engaging in arguments or debates. Robert Greene suggests that convincing people through your actions is more effective and less risky than trying to persuade them with words. The rationale behind this law is that words are often seen as cheap and can be subject to skepticism or misinterpretation. In contrast, actions are concrete and can demonstrate your capabilities and resolve more convincingly. Additionally, arguing can lead to resentment and a damaged reputation, whereas actions can be more subtly persuasive and less likely to provoke a defensive reaction. Greene uses historical anecdotes to illustrate how successful individuals have used their actions to prove their points or assert their power, rather than relying on arguments. These examples show how actions can speak louder than words, influencing others and shaping outcomes in a more controlled and effective manner. The chapter emphasizes the importance of showing rather than telling, and using deeds to influence and persuade, thereby building a reputation for effectiveness and decisiveness. Chapter 10. Chapter 10 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Infection, Avoid the Unhappy and Unlucky. In this chapter, Robert Greene advises against associating with people who are chronically unhappy or unlucky, as their negative qualities and misfortunes can be contagious and detrimental to your own power and success. Greene argues that people who are perpetually miserable or unlucky can spread their misfortune and pessimism to those around them. By associating with such individuals, you risk being dragged down by their problems and negative outlook. He suggests that it's better to surround yourself with positive, successful people, as their qualities can have a beneficial influence. The chapter includes historical examples and stories to illustrate how the misfortune of others can adversely affect those close to them. Greene explains how unhappy and unlucky people can create a negative environment that impedes success and can even lead to a downfall. The central message of this law is to be selective about the company you keep, focusing on relationships that are uplifting and beneficial, and avoiding those that are consistently negative or problematic. The idea is that by doing so, you protect your own energy and prospects for success. Chapter 11. Chapter 11 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Learn to Keep People Dependent on You, focuses on the strategy of creating a sense of dependency in others to secure and maintain power. Robert Greene suggests that by making people rely on you for their needs and desires, you gain leverage over them and ensure your own indispensability. The chapter advises cultivating a scenario where people need your skills, knowledge, connections, or resources, making it difficult for them to replace or oppose you. This dependency can take various forms, such as providing essential services, offering unique expertise, or being the sole source of a critical resource. Greene uses historical examples to illustrate how powerful figures have successfully made themselves indispensable. These stories demonstrate how creating a dependency can lead to a secure and powerful position, as those dependent on you are less likely to challenge or betray you. The law emphasizes the importance of being the sole provider of something valuable, thus making yourself a necessary component in the lives or operations of others. This tactic is portrayed as a way to create a protective buffer around your position, safeguarding your power and influence. Chapter 12. Chapter 12 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Use Selective Honesty and Generosity to Disarm Your Victim. In this chapter, Robert Greene discusses the strategy of using selective honesty and calculated generosity to disarm and manipulate others. The idea is that occasional honest and generous acts can be used as a tool to cover up deceitful intentions and gain trust. Greene argues that by being honest or generous at the right moment, you can catch people off guard, especially if they are suspicious of your intentions. These acts of apparent sincerity and kindness can distract and disarm your targets, making them vulnerable to further manipulation. The key is to use these tactics selectively and strategically, ensuring they serve your larger goals. The chapter includes historical anecdotes and examples showing how figures of power have used this approach to outwit and control others. These stories demonstrate how a well-timed act of honesty or generosity can effectively mask ulterior motives and facilitate the achievement of deeper, often hidden, objectives. The law underlines the importance of balancing cunning with the appearance of virtue, suggesting that a mix of honesty and deceit, used judiciously, can be a powerful combination in the pursuit of power. Chapter 13. Chapter 13 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled, When Asking for Help, Appeal to People's Self-Interest, Never to Their Mercy or Gratitude. In this chapter, Robert Greene emphasizes the effectiveness of appealing to people's self-interest, rather than their sense of compassion or gratitude when seeking help or favors. Greene suggests that people are fundamentally motivated by their own interests, and they are more likely to provide assistance if they perceive a benefit to themselves. The law advises framing requests or appeals in a way that highlights the advantages to the person being asked, rather than relying on their sense of duty, kindness, or past favors. The chapter is illustrated with historical examples where successful figures have secured aid by tapping into others' self-interest. These anecdotes demonstrate how understanding and leveraging the desires and motivations of others can be a powerful tool in gaining their cooperation and support. The key takeaway is that in negotiations or when seeking assistance, it's more effective to focus on how helping you can serve the interests of the other party. By doing so, you increase the likelihood of a positive response and foster relationships that are mutually beneficial. Chapter 14. Chapter 14 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Pose as a Friend, Work as a Spy, explores the tactic of using a friendly, non-threatening facade to gather valuable information and insights about others. In this chapter, Robert Greene suggests that by presenting yourself as a confidant and friend, you can encourage others to let down their guard and reveal secrets or vulnerabilities that can be used to your advantage. The law advises adopting a curious, empathetic demeanor to get people to open up and share their thoughts and feelings. This approach can be particularly effective in uncovering hidden agendas, weaknesses, and intentions of those around you, information that can be invaluable in a power dynamic. Greene illustrates this principle with historical examples of individuals who successfully gathered crucial information through a guise of friendship and trust. These stories demonstrate how posing as a loyal and trustworthy confidante can provide access to confidential information and insights. The chapter emphasizes the value of information in power struggles and the importance of being discreet and strategic in collecting it. By appearing as a friend while gathering intelligence, you can maintain a position of advantage without arousing suspicion. Chapter 15. Chapter 15 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Crush Your Enemy Totally. This chapter discusses the strategy of not just defeating, but completely annihilating any opposition or enemy. Robert Greene argues that half measures or leaving an enemy with any semblance of power can lead to future threats and challenges. The premise of this law is that enemies, if not entirely crushed, can recover, seek revenge, or continue to pose a threat. Therefore, the chapter advocates for a thorough and decisive approach when dealing with adversaries, ensuring they are rendered completely incapable of retaliation or regrouping. Greene supports this law with historical examples where partial victories led to future problems, and contrasts these with instances where total annihilation of enemies secured long-term peace and power for the victor. The stories illustrate the risks of leniency and the benefits of absolute victory. This law emphasizes the importance of leaving no opportunity for your adversaries to recover. It's a ruthless approach, suggesting that in the realm of power, mercy, or half measures can often lead to greater problems down the line. Chapter 16. Chapter 16 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Use Absence to Increase Respect and Honor. In this chapter, Robert Greene discusses the power of strategically withdrawing your presence to increase your perceived value and importance. The idea is that by making yourself less available or less visible, you create a sense of scarcity and increase your perceived worth. Greene suggests that overfamiliarity can lead to a loss of respect and a decrease in awe. By being less accessible, you can cultivate an aura of exclusivity and mystery, which can enhance your reputation and influence. This law advises that absence can provoke respect and admiration, as people tend to value what is less available and can romanticize what they miss. The chapter provides historical anecdotes illustrating how leaders and influential figures have effectively used absence to strengthen their power and reputation. These examples show how strategic withdrawal can renew interest and respect among peers and followers. The key message is to balance presence with absence, to ensure that your withdrawal is felt and has an impact, but not to be absent to the point of being forgotten or replaced. This tactic is portrayed as a means to maintain and enhance your standing and influence in any social or professional circle. Chapter 17. Chapter 17 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Keep Others in Suspended Terror, Cultivate an Air of Unpredictability, focuses on the use of unpredictability as a tool for maintaining power and control. In this chapter, Robert Greene argues that being unpredictable can keep others off balance and in a constant state of reactive mode, which enhances your control over them. The law suggests that by acting in an unpredictable manner, you prevent others from understanding and anticipating your actions. This unpredictability can be unsettling and confusing for those around you, making it difficult for them to formulate effective strategies against you. The idea is to keep people guessing and in a state of uncertainty, thereby asserting your dominance and control. Greene supports this concept with historical examples demonstrating how unpredictable behavior in leaders and people of power has given them an advantage over more predictable opponents. These stories illustrate how unexpected actions and decisions can lead to a position of strength. The chapter emphasizes the advantage of being elusive and hard to predict, suggesting that this can create a sense of awe and respect, as well as fear, which can be powerful tools in the pursuit of power and influence. Chapter 18. Chapter 18 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled, Do Not Build Fortresses to Protect Yourself. Isolation is Dangerous. In this chapter, Robert Greene warns against the temptation to isolate oneself, arguing that while it may seem like a safe strategy to protect against enemies, it actually makes one more vulnerable. The key idea is that isolation cuts you off from valuable information and opportunities. It prevents you from understanding the changes and dynamics in your environment, leaving you exposed to potential threats and dangers that you're not aware of. Instead of fortifying yourself away from others, Greene suggests it's better to be out among them, where you can observe and participate in the ongoing dynamics. Historical examples in the chapter demonstrate how leaders who isolated themselves eventually faced downfall because they were out of touch with reality and unable to respond effectively to challenges. In contrast, those who remained engaged and connected were better informed and more capable of navigating complexities. The law emphasizes the importance of staying engaged, connected, and informed, suggesting that active participation in your environment provides a better defense than isolation. It's about balancing the need for security with the necessity of staying informed and adaptable. Chapter 19. Chapter 19 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled, Know Who You're Dealing With, Do Not Offend the Wrong Person, emphasizes the importance of understanding the people you interact with, especially in power dynamics. Robert Greene advises careful assessment of individuals to identify their sensitivities, strengths, and weaknesses to avoid inadvertently offending or provoking someone who could become a dangerous adversary. This law stresses that people react differently to actions and words, and what might be insignificant to one person could be deeply offensive to another. Greene suggests that failing to understand the character and temperament of those around you can lead to disastrous consequences if you trigger a negative reaction in someone capable of doing you harm. The chapter is supported by historical anecdotes illustrating the importance of this understanding. These stories show how misjudgments about people's nature have led to unintended confrontations and conflicts, while accurate assessments have facilitated successful navigation of complex social and political landscapes. The key message is to tailor your actions and strategies to the individual characteristics of those you deal with. By understanding who you're dealing with, you can avoid unnecessary conflicts and strategically influence people in a way that aligns with their personality and reactions. Chapter 20. Chapter 20 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled, Do Not Commit to Anyone. This chapter advises maintaining your independence and flexibility by avoiding the commitment to any particular group or cause. Robert Greene argues that by not committing, you retain the power to move freely and take advantage of opportunities as they arise. The idea is that commitments can tie you down and make you predictable, which can be a disadvantage in power dynamics. By staying independent, you can play different sides against each other, keep your options open, and maintain a position where you can pivot as necessary to benefit from changed circumstances. Greene uses historical examples to illustrate the benefits of remaining non-committal and the pitfalls of tying oneself to a specific group or cause. These stories show how independence can be a powerful tool in navigating social and political arenas, allowing for greater maneuverability and leverage. The chapter emphasizes the value of flexibility and the strategic advantage of being able to adapt to situations without being burdened by prior commitments. It suggests that true power comes from the ability to remain detached and to control your involvement according to your own interests. Chapter 21. Chapter 21 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Play a Sucker to Catch a Sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. In this chapter, Robert Greene advises presenting yourself as less intelligent or less aware than you actually are to lower the guard of others, especially those who may underestimate you. By doing so, you can gain an advantage as others reveal more information and expose vulnerabilities. The law suggests that by playing the role of someone naive or less competent, you can encourage others to become complacent, overconfident, and less cautious in their dealings with you. This strategy can be particularly effective in competitive or adversarial situations where underestimation by others can be turned to your advantage. Greene supports this idea with historical anecdotes where figures of power deliberately downplayed their abilities or understanding to manipulate situations to their favor. These stories demonstrate how appearing less capable than you are can be a cunning way to gain the upper hand. The chapter emphasizes the tactical benefits of misdirection and the strategic use of perceived weakness. The core message is that allowing others to feel superior often leads them to let down their guard, making it easier for you to influence, outmaneuver, and ultimately control them. Chapter 22. Chapter 22 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Use the Surrender Tactic, Transform Weakness into Power, discusses the strategy of using tactical surrender to turn a disadvantageous situation into an advantage. Robert Greene suggests that in certain situations, particularly when facing a more powerful opponent, it can be wise to surrender deliberately. The law advises that by surrendering, you can buy time, conserve your resources, and wait for an opportunity to emerge stronger. It's about recognizing when resistance is futile and using surrender as a tool to ultimately achieve your goals. The act of surrendering can also disarm your opponent, making them underestimate you and potentially leading them to become complacent. Greene illustrates this principle with historical examples where individuals and groups have effectively used surrender to their advantage, often leading to a reversal of fortune where the former underdog comes out on top. These stories show how surrender can be a strategic move rather than a sign of weakness. The key takeaway is that surrender, when used wisely, can be a powerful tactic in the game of power. It's about understanding the dynamics of your situation and making a calculated decision to yield as a means to a greater end. Chapter 23. Chapter 23 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Concentrate Your Forces. In this chapter, Robert Greene advocates for the concentration of resources, energy, and efforts on a focal point of power. The principle is that by focusing your resources, you can achieve maximum impact and effectiveness. The law suggests that dispersing your efforts across multiple fronts or objectives can lead to weakened results and a diminished impact. Instead, Greene advises identifying the most critical point where your efforts can make a significant difference and focusing intensely on that area. The chapter uses historical examples to illustrate how successful figures have concentrated their power and resources to achieve their goals. These examples demonstrate the effectiveness of a focused approach compared to a scattered or diluted strategy. The essence of this law is the strategic allocation of resources, whether they be time, effort, or other assets, to maximize the impact and influence one can wield. The chapter emphasizes the importance of identifying key areas where you can make the most difference and channeling your efforts accordingly for greater power and success. Chapter 24. Chapter 24 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Play the Perfect Courtier. This chapter discusses the art of being a courtier, a person who is skilled in navigating the power dynamics of a court or similar environment. Robert Greene outlines the behaviors and strategies that make for a successful courtier, emphasizing the importance of subtlety, wisdom, and discretion. The law advises mastering the art of flattery, avoiding overt displays of power, understanding and adapting to the psychology of rulers or those in authority, and always appearing humble and respectful. The perfect courtier knows how to blend into the background when necessary, but also how to stand out and be noticed at the right moments. Historical examples in the chapter illustrate how successful courtiers have navigated complex social hierarchies to gain favor and influence. These stories highlight the importance of being tactful, attentive, and adaptable in dealing with people in positions of power. The key takeaway is that success in a court-like environment, which could be a modern corporate, political, or social setting, requires a careful balance of assertiveness and submissiveness, visibility and invisibility, and always making those above you feel comfortably superior. This law is about the subtleties of social navigation and the importance of finesse in interpersonal relations. Chapter 25 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Recreate Yourself, delves into the concept of self-transformation as a tool for gaining power. Robert Greene encourages readers to actively craft and shape their public persona instead of allowing circumstances or others to define them. The chapter suggests that by recreating yourself, you can shed past limitations and reinvent your image and identity in a way that commands power and respect. This involves cultivating a new, more powerful appearance and persona that aligns with your ambitions and goals. Greene uses historical figures as examples to illustrate how they reinvented themselves and, in doing so, were able to seize control over their circumstances and wield greater influence. These stories demonstrate the power of self-transformation in overcoming obstacles and achieving a more dominant position in various contexts. The key message is that you are not bound by your past or your background. Instead, you can actively shape your identity and how others perceive you, thereby controlling your narrative and enhancing your power. This law emphasizes the importance of self-mastery, personal branding, and the strategic presentation of oneself to the world. Chapter 26 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Keep Your Hands Clean, focuses on the importance of maintaining a clean and untarnished public image while navigating the often murky waters of power dynamics. Robert Greene advises using others as scapegoats to deflect blame and criticism, thereby preserving your own reputation. The law suggests that to maintain and increase your power, it is crucial to avoid the appearance of dirtiness or impropriety. Instead, you should find ways to have others do the less savory tasks, making them the face of any unpopular decisions or actions. This tactic ensures that you can benefit from these actions while avoiding the negative repercussions that might come with them. Greene illustrates this principle with historical examples where leaders and people of influence successfully managed to keep their reputations clean by subtly shifting blame or responsibility onto others. These stories show how distancing oneself from the direct implementation of controversial or unethical actions can be crucial in maintaining public favor and authority. The key takeaway is the strategic importance of maintaining a facade of cleanliness and integrity, even when involved in less than pristine activities. By mastering the art of delegation and manipulation, you can ensure that your hands remain clean, even when the actions necessary for power might be dirty. Chapter 27 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Play on People's Need to Believe to Create a Cult-like Following. In this chapter, Robert Greene discusses the power of playing into people's inherent desire to believe in something larger than themselves. He suggests that by positioning yourself as a kind of prophet or visionary leader, you can attract and maintain a devoted following. The law advises creating an allure of enthusiasm and confidence in your vision, making it vague enough to allow followers to see what they want to see. By doing so, you can tap into people's need for a cause or a belief system, which can translate into a strong, almost cult-like loyalty. Greene uses historical examples to illustrate how leaders and figures of influence have successfully cultivated a devoted base by becoming symbols of a larger cause or belief. These stories demonstrate the effectiveness of creating an aura of certainty and higher purpose, which can attract and retain followers. The chapter emphasizes the importance of charisma, emotional appeal, and the strategic use of symbols and rhetoric to create a powerful, almost mystical image. The key message is that by exploiting the human need for belief and belonging, you can establish a powerful base of support that is loyal and dedicated to your cause or vision. Chapter 28 of 48 Laws of Power, titled Enter Action with Boldness, focuses on the value of boldness in asserting power and influence. Robert Greene argues that hesitation or timidity can undermine your position, while bold actions can command respect and create an aura of authority and decisiveness. The law suggests that when you act, it is crucial to do so with confidence and assertiveness. Boldness in your actions can intimidate opponents and win the admiration of others. Even if you make mistakes, Greene advises correcting them with even greater boldness, as this can reinforce your position of strength. Greene supports this principle with historical anecdotes where decisive and bold actions led to significant gains in power and influence. These stories illustrate how figures of power have used boldness to their advantage, often overcoming obstacles and achieving their goals. The chapter emphasizes the psychological impact of boldness, both on oneself and on others. Acting with boldness can increase your self-confidence and can also affect how others perceive you, often leading them to assume you know more or are more powerful than you actually are. The key message is that boldness in action can be a significant asset in the pursuit of power. Chapter 29. Chapter 29 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Plan All the Way to the End. In this chapter, Robert Greene emphasizes the importance of thorough planning and thinking ahead of the final outcome of any action or strategy. The idea is to have a clear end goal and to consider all possible scenarios and obstacles that might arise along the way. The law advises against getting lost in the emotions or the immediate excitement of a situation. Instead, it suggests meticulously planning and strategizing to ensure you are prepared for every possible turn of events. By doing so, you can maintain control over the direction and outcome of your endeavors. Greene uses historical examples to illustrate how successful individuals have planned their actions to the very end, anticipating challenges and adjusting their strategies accordingly. These stories demonstrate the power of foresight and the dangers of short-sightedness in the pursuit of power and success. The key message of this law is the importance of long-term thinking and strategic foresight. By planning all the way to the end, you can avoid being caught off guard by unforeseen developments and can navigate complex situations with greater ease and confidence. Chapter 30. Chapter 30 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Make Your Accomplishments Seem Effortless, delves into the art of concealing the hard work and effort behind your successes, creating an aura of natural talent and ease. Robert Greene suggests that making your achievements appear effortless enhances their power and impact, as it gives the impression of an inherent superiority or talent. The law advises that you should avoid showing all the hard work and struggle that goes into achieving your goals. Instead, present your accomplishments as if they were the result of natural talent or a simple extension of your abilities. This can lead others to admire you more, as they perceive your successes as being due to innate qualities rather than just hard work. Greene supports this principle with historical examples of successful figures who mastered the art of appearing effortlessly competent and talented. These stories show how this appearance can enhance a person's reputation and influence, as it sets them apart from those who visibly labor and struggle. The key takeaway is the importance of maintaining an air of ease and grace in your successes. By doing so, you can create an aura of mystique and exceptionalism around yourself, which can be a powerful tool in the realm of power and influence. Chapter 31. Chapter 31 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Control the Options, Get Others to Play with the Cards You Deal. In this chapter, Robert Greene discusses the strategy of giving others the illusion of choice while controlling the options available to them. This tactic allows you to influence the outcome by limiting the choices to those that serve your interests. The law suggests that by cleverly presenting limited options, you can guide others to the decision you want them to make, all while they believe they are acting of their own free will. This method is particularly effective in negotiations or situations where direct force or authority is not feasible or desirable. Greene provides historical anecdotes to illustrate how leaders and strategists have successfully used this technique to steer outcomes in their favor. These examples demonstrate the subtlety and effectiveness of controlling options in various contexts, from political maneuvers to personal relationships. The chapter emphasizes the importance of subtlety and indirection in the exercise of power. By controlling the options, you maintain the upper hand and can guide situations to your desired end, all under the guise of freedom of choice. The key message is the strategic manipulation of choices to achieve control and influence in any interaction. Chapter 32. Chapter 32 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Play to People's Fantasies, discusses the power of appealing to the fantasies and deeper desires of others. Robert Greene suggests that most people are dissatisfied with reality and often seek escape in illusions and fantasies. By playing into these fantasies, you can exert a powerful influence over others. The law advises creating and using appealing fantasies that resonate with the needs and desires of your audience. This could involve promising a better future, a return to a past golden age, or a solution to a pervasive problem. The idea is to tap into the emotions and dreams of people, making them more receptive to your influence and leadership. Historical examples in the chapter illustrate how leaders, politicians, and other influential figures have successfully used this strategy to attract followers and consolidate power. These stories show the effectiveness of using compelling narratives and promises to capture the imagination and loyalty of people. The key message is that by understanding and exploiting the fantasies of your audience, you can create powerful bonds of loyalty and devotion. This tactic involves a blend of storytelling, symbolism, and emotional appeal to sway and persuade people, leveraging their inherent desire for something greater than the mundane reality. Chapter 33. Chapter 33 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Discover Each Man's Thumbscrew. In this chapter, Robert Greene discusses the importance of finding and exploiting the weaknesses or vulnerabilities in others to gain leverage in power dynamics. The concept of a thumbscrew refers to a specific weakness or sensitive spot that can be used to influence or control an individual. The law suggests that everyone has a vulnerability or a soft spot, whether it's an emotional need, a secret fear, an unfulfilled desire, or a hidden dependency. By identifying this vulnerability, you can exert influence and control over them. Greene advises careful observation and analysis of people to discover what truly motivates or troubles them. Historical examples in the chapter demonstrate how figures of power have adeptly identified and exploited the weaknesses of others to achieve their objectives. These stories illustrate the effectiveness of this strategy in various contexts, from political maneuvering to personal relationships. The key takeaway is the tactical advantage of understanding the psychological makeup of those around you. By finding and utilizing their thumbscrews, you can subtly manipulate situations to your favor, often without the other parties being aware of your influence. Chapter 34. Chapter 34 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Be Royal in Your Own Fashion, Act Like a King to be Treated Like One, focuses on the concept of self-worth and the projection of confidence. Robert Greene suggests that by acting with the confidence and authority of a monarch, you can command respect and elevate your status in the eyes of others. The law advises adopting a demeanor of dignity, self-assurance, and unquestionable authority in your actions and interactions. The idea is that if you believe in your own value and act in a manner befitting a leader or person of high status, others are more likely to treat you accordingly. This approach involves not just confidence, but also the cultivation of a certain presence and aura that suggests inherent worthiness of respect and admiration. Historical examples in the chapter illustrate how individuals have risen in status and power by projecting an image of royalty or nobility, even when they did not come from such backgrounds. These stories show the power of perception and how self-presentation can significantly influence how others perceive and interact with you. The key message is that power and authority often come from the perception of others, and by cultivating an image of regality and confidence, you can shape how you are treated and perceived in any social or professional hierarchy. Chapter 35. Chapter 35 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Master the Art of Timing. In this chapter, Robert Greene emphasizes the critical importance of timing in all actions and decisions related to power and influence. The law suggests that understanding and mastering timing can greatly enhance the effectiveness of your actions and strategies. Greene advises being acutely aware of the timing of your actions, knowing when to act and when to hold back. This involves understanding the ebb and flow of circumstances, recognizing the right moment to make a move, and also knowing when it is wise to delay or postpone actions. The chapter is supported by historical anecdotes where timing played a crucial role in the success or failure of various endeavors. These examples illustrate how good timing can capitalize on opportunities, while poor timing can lead to missed chances or outright disaster. The key takeaway is that timing is not just about speed or slowness, but about the discernment of the right moment for action. This involves a combination of patience, observation, and the ability to sense shifts in situations and moods. By mastering timing, you can significantly increase your chances of success in your pursuits of power and influence. Chapter 36 of The 48 Laws of Power, titled Disdain Things You Cannot Have, Ignoring Them is the Best Revenge, deals with the concept of managing desire and perception. Robert Greene advises that showing desperation or frustration over things you cannot have weakens your power and influence. Instead, he suggests that showing contempt or indifference towards these things can enhance your standing. The law recommends adopting an attitude of disdain towards anything that is out of your reach, as openly coveting or showing frustration can make you appear weak and insecure. By appearing to disdain or ignore what you cannot have, you project an image of self-sufficiency and strength. Greene supports this principle with historical examples where individuals enhance their power by appearing uninterested in what they could not obtain. These stories illustrate how a nonchalant attitude towards unattainable desires can protect one's reputation and even turn the situation to one's advantage. The key message of this law is about controlling emotional reactions and perceptions. It emphasizes the power of appearing emotionally detached and confident, even in the face of unfulfilled desires or ambitions. This approach can lead others to respect and value you more, as it suggests inner strength and self-assuredness. Chapter 37 of The 48 Laws of Power, titled Create Compelling Spectacles, focuses on the use of visual symbolism and dramatic events to capture attention and convey power. Robert Greene suggests that in the realm of power, what is visible and striking often has more impact than what is rational or substantive. The law advises creating grand and memorable spectacles or events that capture the imagination of the public. These spectacles can divert attention, enhance a reputation, and create an aura of power. Greene argues that people are drawn to the visually dramatic and the symbolic. Thus, the effective use of spectacle can elevate your status and power. Historical examples in the chapter illustrate how rulers, politicians, and other figures of authority have used grand public displays, ceremonies, and symbols to assert power and influence. These stories demonstrate the effectiveness of using visual and emotional appeal to captivate and persuade audiences. The key takeaway is that in the pursuit of power, the way you present yourself and your actions can be as important as the substance of what you do. By creating compelling spectacles, you can capture the public's imagination, distract them from less favorable truths, and enhance your perceived power and influence. Chapter 38 of The 48 Laws of Power is titled, Think as you like, but behave like others. In this chapter, Robert Greene discusses the importance of blending in with your environment and conforming to societal norms to avoid drawing unwanted attention or provoking envy and hostility. The law suggests that while it's important to maintain your own beliefs and thoughts, outwardly conforming to the expectations and behaviors of those around you can be a strategic move. By appearing to be part of the group and adhering to its norms, you avoid making yourself a target for criticism or backlash. This doesn't mean abandoning your individuality or beliefs. Rather, it's about strategic self-presentation. Greene uses historical examples to illustrate how figures who stood out too much or flaunted their nonconformity often faced resistance, envy, or even danger. Conversely, those who were able to blend in and adapt to the norms of their surroundings were able to navigate their environments more safely and effectively. The key message is the tactical advantage of blending in with the crowd. By behaving like others, you can operate more freely and subtly, reducing the risk of drawing negative attention or opposition. This approach allows you to pursue your goals without unnecessary hindrance or conflict. Chapter 39. Chapter 39 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Stir Up Waters to Catch Fish. In this chapter, Robert Greene explores the strategy of creating chaos and disruption to gain an advantage over others. The law suggests that disorder and confusion can be used as tools to throw off and weaken opponents, allowing you to gain control and power. The principle behind this law is that in a state of turmoil, people are more likely to react emotionally and less likely to see through your intentions. By disturbing the waters, you can bring to the surface underlying weaknesses and opportunities that can be exploited. Greene supports this concept with historical examples, where leaders and strategists intentionally created confusion or conflict to gain the upper hand. These stories show how controlled chaos can be a powerful tactic to distract and disorient opponents, making them vulnerable to manipulation or defeat. The key message of this law is the strategic use of disruption as a means to power. By stirring up the waters, you can create a situation where you have the advantage, as others struggle to make sense of the chaos. However, it's a tactic that requires careful handling to ensure that the chaos works to your advantage rather than spiraling out of control. Chapter 40. Chapter 40 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Despise the Free Lunch, discusses the principle that everything comes with a price, and one should be wary of seemingly generous offers that may carry hidden obligations or costs. Robert Greene advises against taking shortcuts or relying on free help, as it often leads to unforeseen troubles and dependencies. The law suggests that what appears as a free or easy offer often has strings attached, and accepting such offers can lead to a loss of power and autonomy. Instead, Greene recommends earning what you receive and being willing to pay the full price for it. This approach not only keeps you free from obligations, but also earns you respect for your independence and hard work. Greene uses historical anecdotes to illustrate how reliance on gifts, favors, or free help has led to downfall and loss of power for some, while self-reliance and independence have fortified the positions of others. These examples show the hidden dangers in free offers and the strength that comes from self-sufficiency. The key takeaway is the value of independence and the risks associated with accepting freebies, shortcuts, or easy paths. By despising the free lunch, you maintain control over your situation and avoid becoming beholden to the hidden agendas of others. Chapter 41. Chapter 41 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled Avoid Stepping into a Great Man's Shoes. In this chapter, Robert Greene addresses the challenges and risks associated with following in the footsteps of a highly successful or revered predecessor. The law suggests that when you take over a role or position previously held by someone greatly admired or accomplished, you are likely to be unfavorably compared to them. The chapter advises finding your own path and establishing your own identity rather than trying to live up to or replicate the success of your predecessor. Greene suggests that by carving out your own niche and setting your own standards, you can avoid the pitfalls of constant comparison and the inevitable perception of falling short. Historical examples in the chapter illustrate the difficulties faced by those who tried to fill the shoes of great leaders or figures, and how others succeeded by forging their own paths and distancing themselves from the shadows of their predecessors. The key message is the importance of creating your own identity and success criteria, rather than trying to measure up to someone else's legacy. This approach allows for greater freedom to innovate and define success on your own terms, reducing the pressure of comparisons and expectations. Chapter 42. Chapter 42 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Strike the Shepherd and the Sheep Will Scatter, focuses on the strategy of targeting the leader or key figure in a group to destabilize the entire group. Robert Greene suggests that in conflicts or power struggles, directly attacking the primary source of power or leadership can cause the entire structure to fall apart. The law advises identifying the shepherd, the leader or key influencer, in any group or organization you are opposing. By concentrating your efforts on disarming or removing this key figure, the rest of the group, likened to sheep, will often lose their direction and cohesion, making them easier to control or defeat. Greene uses historical examples to illustrate how this strategy has been successfully employed in various contexts, from military campaigns to political maneuvers. These stories demonstrate the effectiveness of targeting the leader to achieve a larger victory over a group. The key message is that in many situations, the power and stability of a group or organization are heavily dependent on its leadership. By understanding and exploiting this dependency, you can exert significant influence or control over the group by focusing your efforts on the leader. This tactic can be a more efficient way of gaining an advantage than trying to confront an entire group or organization head-on. Chapter 43. Chapter 43 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Work on the Hearts and Minds of Others, discusses the importance of influencing people's emotions and perceptions to gain power and control. Robert Greene emphasizes that rational argument and logic are often less effective than targeting the emotional and psychological aspects of people's minds. The law suggests that by understanding and appealing to people's emotions, fears, desires, and fantasies, you can sway them more effectively. This involves a deep understanding of human psychology and the use of empathy, charm, and persuasion to win over others. Greene supports this principle with historical examples where leaders and influential figures have successfully won the hearts and minds of people, often leading to loyal followings and consolidated power. These stories illustrate how emotional influence can be a more powerful tool than rational persuasion or force. The key takeaway is the strategic importance of emotional and psychological influence. By working on the hearts and minds of others, you can subtly guide their decisions and actions, making them more receptive to your ideas and leadership. This approach is about understanding and manipulating the deeper, often unspoken aspects of human behavior. Chapter 44. Chapter 44 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Disarm and Infuriate with the Mirror Effect, explores the strategy of mirroring your opponents or rivals to disarm and confuse them. Robert Greene suggests that by imitating or reflecting the actions, behaviors, and even the psychology of others, you can gain an advantage by throwing them off balance. The law advises using mirroring as a means to understand and predict the actions of others, as well as to make them feel comfortable and understood. By mirroring someone's behavior, you create a sense of familiarity and trust, which can be used to lead them in a desired direction or to expose their strategies and weaknesses. Greene provides historical examples demonstrating how this technique has been used effectively in various contexts, including politics, warfare, and personal relationships. These cases illustrate how mirroring can be a subtle yet powerful tool for gaining insight into and control over others. The key message is the effectiveness of the mirror effect in disarming and controlling people. By reflecting their own behaviors and attitudes back at them, you can create a deceptive sense of empathy and understanding, which can then be exploited for your own ends. This tactic requires careful observation and psychological acumen to be executed successfully. Chapter 45. Chapter 45 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled, Preach the Need for Change, but Never Reform Too Much at Once. In this chapter, Robert Greene discusses the delicate balance required in advocating for change. While it is important to appeal to people's desire for novelty and improvement, making too many changes too quickly can lead to unrest and resistance. The law suggests that while advocating for change can be a powerful tool for gaining support and momentum, it needs to be done cautiously. Too much change can be unsettling and provoke backlash, as people generally prefer stability and predictability. Therefore, it's important to introduce changes gradually and to cloak them in a sense of familiarity. Greene uses historical examples to illustrate how leaders who have successfully implemented change did so by moving slowly, respecting traditions, and ensuring their changes were not too radical or abrupt. Conversely, those who attempted rapid and sweeping reforms often faced strong opposition and even failure. The key message is to understand the psychology behind people's resistance to change. By presenting change in a way that is palatable, maintaining a respect for traditions, and making alterations incrementally, you can effectively bring about transformation without provoking a counterproductive backlash. Chapter 46. Chapter 46 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Never Appear Too Perfect, advises against the portrayal of flawlessness, as it can incite envy and resentment in others. Robert Greene suggests that appearing too perfect can make others feel inferior, leading to hidden animosities and silent opposition. The law recommends revealing occasional weaknesses or vulnerabilities to make yourself more relatable and less threatening. By showing that you are human and capable of mistakes, you can disarm potential envy and hostility. This tactic involves a delicate balance of displaying competence while maintaining a degree of approachability and fallibility. Historical examples in the chapter illustrate how individuals who appeared too perfect often became targets of envy and were eventually brought down by those who felt threatened or jealous. Conversely, those who managed to show their human side were able to navigate their rise to power more smoothly. The key takeaway is the importance of managing perceptions and avoiding the pitfalls of envy. By carefully revealing vulnerabilities and avoiding the appearance of being too perfect, you can maintain positive relationships and reduce the likelihood of provoking negative reactions from others. Chapter 47. Chapter 47 of the 48 Laws of Power is titled, "Do Not Go Past the Mark You Aimed For. In Victory, Learn When to Stop." This chapter emphasizes the importance of moderation and restraint, particularly in moments of success or victory. Robert Greene advises against overreaching or pushing too far, as it can lead to unforeseen consequences and backlash. The law suggests that in the pursuit of power and achievement, it's crucial to know when you've achieved enough and to resist the temptation to push for more. Excess ambition or greed, especially after a significant victory, can make you vulnerable, as it may provoke envy, resistance, or even retaliation. Greene illustrates this principle with historical examples where individuals or groups failed because they overextended themselves or did not know when to stop pushing. These stories contrast with those who achieved lasting success by exercising restraint at the right moment. The key message is that self-control and foresight are critical in maintaining power and avoiding the pitfalls of overreaching. By recognizing the optimal point to cease further pursuits and consolidate your gains, you can secure your achievements and protect yourself from potential downfalls. Chapter 48. Chapter 48 of the 48 Laws of Power, titled Assume Formlessness, is about the strategic advantage of remaining adaptable and flexible. Robert Greene draws on the ancient wisdom of the Tao Te Ching, advocating for a formless approach in strategy and power dynamics. This means avoiding a fixed or predictable approach and instead being able to adapt and change tactics as situations evolve. The law suggests that by not committing to a single approach or strategy, you become unpredictable and difficult to counter. This adaptability allows you to respond effectively to any situation, as you are not bound by any specific plan or methodology. Greene uses historical examples to illustrate how leaders and strategists who adopted a flexible, formless approach were able to outmaneuver those who were rigid in their tactics. These stories show the effectiveness of adaptability in various contexts, from warfare to politics. The key message is the power of adaptability and the danger of becoming too rigid or predictable. By assuming a formless approach, you can maintain the upper hand and respond fluidly to the ever-changing dynamics of power and competition. This final law encapsulates the essence of being strategically versatile and responsive in the pursuit of power. Review and criticism. The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene is a detailed examination of power dynamics, offering strategic laws backed by historical anecdotes and philosophical insights. Published in 1998, it has become well known for its pragmatic, often Machiavellian advice on acquiring, maintaining, and defending power. Greene presents 48 laws, each illustrated through historical figures and events, covering various aspects of social and political maneuvering. The book's strength lies in its well-researched strategies and practical advice, making it valuable for those interested in strategy, history, and psychology. The engaging historical narratives provide informative lessons that contextualize each law, creating a rich tapestry of insights into human behavior and social structures. However, the book has notable weaknesses. It often ventures into morally ambiguous territory, advocating manipulative and deceptive tactics that raise ethical concerns. Laws such as crush your enemy totally promote ruthless behavior, reflecting Greene's cynical view that all human interactions are driven by self-interest and power struggles. This perspective overlooks aspects of power such as moral leadership, empathy, and collaboration. Critics argue that Greene's Machiavellian approach, seen in laws like always say less than necessary and get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit, encourages unethical behavior in personal and professional relationships. Additionally, while the historical anecdotes are compelling, they can be selectively presented or overly simplified to support the laws, offering a potentially skewed view of historical figures and events. The book's cynical view of human nature might lead readers to adopt a mistrustful and manipulative approach, problematic from an ethical standpoint. Moreover, Greene's focus on power and strategy lacks balance, largely neglecting the responsibilities and ethical considerations that come with power, such as integrity and altruism. In conclusion, The 48 Laws of Power is a thought-provoking and extensively researched work that offers deep insights into power mechanisms. However, its promotion of morally ambiguous tactics and a somewhat one-dimensional view of power relations make it controversial. It provides valuable lessons in strategy and human behavior, but should be approached with a critical eye and awareness of its ethical implications. Disclaimer: this review of The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene provides a summary and critical analysis based on the reviewer's insights and interpretations. While it encapsulates key themes and elements of the book, it is not a substitute for reading the original work. The 48 Laws of Power is a complex and layered text, interweaving historical anecdotes, strategic advice, and philosophical reflections. This review simplifies and condenses these elements and may not fully capture the depth, nuances, and subtleties present in Greene's writing. The book's exploration of power dynamics, ethical considerations, and historical contexts are intricate and multifaceted, making the original reading experience invaluable. Readers are encouraged to explore the book themselves to fully appreciate the breadth of content and to form their own interpretations of Greene's laws. Engaging with the text directly will provide a more comprehensive understanding of the strategies discussed and the ethical debates they might entail. The opinions and insights expressed in this review are subjective and intended to stimulate interest and thought. They should serve as a complement to, rather than a replacement for, the original work by Robert Greene.